does not make people. People make culture. Good morning. Dr. Ranjana Kumari, Director, Center for Social Research. Dr. Mansi Mishra, Head, Research and Knowledge Management, Center for Social Research. Professor Pendra, Pro-Chancellor, North Cap University. Professor Manjula Batra, Professor, School of Law. Professor Archana Sarma, Head, School of Law. My faculty colleagues and students. I welcome you all to this masterclass on the idea of a gender-neutral India organized by the School of Law, the North Cap University as part of the Orientation and Induction Program for the batch of 2023. The annual masterclass series held at the North Cap University brings in the promise to enrich the academic, personal and professional growth of our new students. Our esteemed speakers address the students with the aim to inspire and empower them as they embark on this transformative journey, exploring new frontiers, gaining new insights, and growing into their fullest potential with each new day at NCU. As we unite in this endeavor to learn something new today, it is my honor to begin the session with the university's tradition of invoking the blessings of Ma Saraswati with the lightning of the lamp. I request Dr. Ranjana Kumari, Dr. Mansi Mishra, Professor Pendra, Professor Manjula Batra, Professor Archana Sarma, and Dr. Nancy Gulzar to kindly light the lamp. Thank you. I now request Professor Manjula Batra to kindly welcome our guest to this cycling as a token of our gratitude. I request Professor Pendra to kindly extend our warm gratitude to Dr. Ranjana Kumari with a bouquet. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce you all to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Ranjana Kumari, Director, Center for Social Research. Dr. Ranjana Kumari is a prominent activist and widely regarded as a leader in the women's movement in India. For over 40 years, Dr. Kumari has led her organization, the Center for Social Research, in strategic planning, research and advocacy to promote gender equality and fight violence against women. Her current work focuses on the challenges of achieving the SDG gender equality objectives in India, building women's capacity for leadership in sustainable and inclusive development, and empowering women to engage politically and economically in the 21st century. This includes promoting women and youth engagement with digital technology to bring their voices to the forefront and support for the creation of safe, respectful online spaces. She is a member of the Global Advisory Board of Meta and the Trust and Safety Council of Twitter, where she advises on enhancing tools and strategy for women's online safety and building inclusive online environments. In partnership with key platforms, Dr. Kumari and the Center for Social Research have engaged over 70,000 youth in educational workshops on digital safety and citizenship and provided access to digital safety resources to over 4 lakh beneficiaries. Government advocacy and stakeholder mobilization is also a major focus of Dr. Kumari's work, with an objective to promote government uptake of digital safety educational curriculum and to promote inclusive and effective government policy on digital technology. Climate change and economic empowerment are also key areas in which Dr. Kumari is focused on building models for women's leadership and skills. On the climate change agenda, she is promoting the Center for Social Research's model of women-led water conservation that integrates gender concerns and promotes women leadership at the village, district and state levels. This work has been developed and expanded in Rajasthan and is being applied to the strategic implementation of the government's Jal Jeevan mission in Punjab and Karnataka. In the area of women's economic empowerment, Dr. Kumari is focused on promoting women's access to skill training for the modern economy and women's entrepreneurship and economic justice. Dr. Kumari has a long history of organizing and mobilizing collective action across Indian civil society for women's empowerment. She is the founder and president of the Women Power Connect, a coalition of 1,000 Indian women's organizations and activists that advocate for the government policy that support women. Dr. Kumari has been a member of the Task Force on Industrial Relations for the International Labour Organization, United Nations Geneva, and has worked as a senior professional at the United Nations. She serves as a member of the Grievance Redressal Board of the Digital Publisher Content Grievances Council of the Internet and Mobile Association of India, as well as the Advertising Standard Councils of India. Ma'am has written 9 books, some among them being globally known, such as The Brides Are Not for Burning and Women in Decision Making, and has presented numerous papers in international and national forums. She has served as the coordinator of the South Asian Network Against Trafficking in Persons and is a member of the Central Advisory Board on Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Tests Act 2001, as well as the Central Advisory Committee for Prevention of Trafficking in Women and Children. She has played a key role in mobilizing support for the creation of the National Commission for Women by the Government of India in 1990 and has also been a core group member of the Drafting Committee of 1999 for the National Policy for Women in India. Ma'am, it is an absolute honor to have you with us today. May I now request Ma'am to kindly address the students.
Okay, this is what we are. Thank you very much for inviting me to this very, very interesting morning. Why? Because when you're thinking of India, you're thinking of gender neutral India. And I really like the subject. A little bit challenging for me because I have always worked for gender equality, but mostly focused on the lives of women. So I'm very impressed. Vice Chancellor Sahab is already here. Your senior teachers are here. I really would like to bring say a few things, and then I will focus on a little bit on my PowerPoint to give you some more specific information. Well, what is it that we are talking about? Gender. I feel that all of you know what gender is. And let me start my presentation to you all by just asking you a question. How many of you know what gender means? Okay. Okay, one of you get up. Okay, you get up and say. What do you think gender is? Okay, I think that's where we are a little bit not right. Just sit down, I'll tell you. Anyone of you more want to attempt it? Okay, yes. Yes, I think you're very right. So, I'm very impressed. Let's clap for him. So, I feel that it's very important to understand this differentiation between what we call sex and what we call gender. So, sex is what you're born with. You can't do anything what you're born with as a girl, boy, or any other gender. It could be any third gender. If you're born with that, then you are man or a woman. But if you are socialized into a social process, where you look at what we do in the families, and that's where the gender becomes very important. Because this whole socialization process where you make a girl into a woman who will be then in the long run subordinated, who will be not getting the equal status in society, who has not got, as you know, and most of the power is vested in the men or boys. So, when I ask the next question, maybe I will not spend more time on that, but if I ask next question, if I think, what do you think a man or a woman is? If I want you to describe, then normally in hundreds of such classes and hundreds of such discussions, a lot of people say that girls means they are soft, they are timid, perhaps also beautiful, and they can't make hard decisions in difficulty. They will be very nervous. They cry, And for boys, what will you say? Oh, boys don't cry. You will say that boys are strong. You will say boys can make good decisions. Boys can carry the family forward. So many of those notions about boys and girls are created by families. And those families are responsible for creating gender. And this gender means that you are going to really look at men and women differently. Now, when we are talking about gender neutrality, then we are talking about something where we are considering, rule of law. So what does democracy ensure to everyone? We are in a democratic system that we all agree, we all accept that India is a democracy. And in a democratic system, what you expect is that every citizen of this country, which is proclaimed itself as a democracy, which is governed by a constitution, so every single citizen is equal. And how that will be ensured? Through the rule of law. That the law will be really making conditions for everyone to be equally treated in our society. And that's what has happened over the years. Now we are almost like 77th Independence Day we just recently celebrated. So a lot of us know that law is equal, everybody is equal before the law. But now, why are we thinking about a country, a society where there is some kind of a differentiation still made when we look at certain laws which are not really treating everybody equal. Certain laws are in protection for women. And a lot of young people really, and especially men, they think that why so many laws for women? What is all this about? If we are a country, we are a democracy, why so many laws are protecting women? So who do you really protect? Who do you really protect at home? Or who do you really protect in society? Who do you do something special for? Someone who's weak. Someone who's not given the equal equal amount of status, equal amount of power, equal amount of respect, equal amount of, so someone, then you protect that person, isn't it? If you have your younger brother who is, very weak, who doesn't do very well in the school, your elder brother, you will try to help that brother to come up and to be able to be equal. Even when he is not a girl, he's a boy. A younger sister, you will be more protective of. But that's not just protection. I want to really redefine that protection. It's not just protection. You would like to control her more, then protect her more. Because she doesn't have that. Of course, the love is there. I'm not absolutely at no point of time saying that there is less love between brother and sister or less love between men and women in our society. But certainly there is more power to control over women in our society. So look, this is what happened in all 77 years of independence of India. Women have not felt equal. Or not only women have not felt equal, whichever direction you look at. Whether you look at women in law, whether you look at women in education, in employment, you look at any health sector, wherever you put your finger on, women are either very less there, women are the sufferers in most of the cases, and women are the ones who are discriminated against. Remember this word. There is a lot of discrimination against women. And when I'm saying that, I would like to prove you, and also at some point of time, you can ask me questions that why do you say that women are discriminated against? Do you think women are discriminated against in India? Do you think? Can you raise your hands? How many of you think that women are discriminated against? Raise your hand if you think. Okay. I think very few people feel and think that women are discriminated against. So why do you think we don't have enough number of girls playing all sports? Why? Is there any answer? Why do you think girls are not in the same number? Perhaps your university is one of the very good universities where you have girls in the same number, or maybe more, because I can see a lot of girls sitting in this hall. So maybe, but when you look at the absolute data, then you see that girls, the moment you move towards the higher education, girls' number starts decreasing. Then why so many girls are not in science and technology education? So many. When you look at any sector of education, you will see that women and girls get less opportunity. And the more you go higher, the more you will see that girls are not there. So what will you call it? What will you call why girls are? Do you think they are weak? Do you think they don't perform very well? Do you think they are not intelligent enough? That's not true. It's just that they did not get that same opportunity as the boys in the family got the opportunity. So this is where the whole discrimination starts, and this is where gender starts socially getting constructed. That men and women start becoming. They are born as same children. But you make girl a girl, you start making her timid, start asking her to surrender to everything. You ask her to come for compliance. You start asking her to, listen to parents, and parents are very protective and loving. But at the same time, indirectly, that's also some amount of control they exercise over the girls more than the boys. So that's what happens in our society. And when that kind of a situation happens, then what do we see? That in a democracy, even if men and women are equal citizens, they don't have gender neutral society. We don't have a gender neutral society. So how can you get gender neutral laws? You cannot. You cannot have a society where so that means there is a section of society which needs differential treatment, which needs more proactive, or you can say affirmative action, or you can say something which is much more to protect, or much more to really guard the situation around them so that they feel. And that is why we see over the years, in the women's movement, I feel that I have been also part of many of these discussions and discourse, and created many laws. We wrote many laws. We really pushed the government to really come up with many laws which really especially addressing the issues of women in our societies. So the idea of gender neutral India, neutrality happens when the situation of everything is the same. Everything is the same, then you can be neutral. But that's not the situation in the society. Women are discriminated against. women are oppressed, women are also in many ways are really not getting the kind of equal treatment as the men are getting. And that's why we created a lot of such situations where we got a lot of laws. And a lot of men are now saying that why so many laws like this, why not gender neutral laws? I'll come to that very soon. So let's start with this presentation. So basically, a society where men rule and get all the powers, and men are responsible for every decision that is made. Even if women participate, they are the ones who decide. And that is why India's parliament has only major decisions are made in the parliament, major policies are drafted in the parliament, and major laws are passed in the parliament of India. That you know, as a student, you all may know the role of parliament or the role of parliament in a democracy. We have only 14% women in India's parliament. On the eve of independence, we started with 3%. And now it's only 14% after 77 independence that we have. So what happens finally? So we know that power rests in men. And that's not only in India, it's a global system. Power rests in men, that is why it is patriarchy. And if the society is patriarchal, then it is not gender equal. Then let's say crime against women. Why? Because somebody who has the power, who thinks there is impunity, who thinks that nobody is going to control or challenge the power of the men, then they can behave the way they want to behave. And that is why you see so much of violence against women. I do not know how many of you know that how many women complain of domestic violence. How many women, I don't know if you silently observe maybe in your own home, I hope not, but in the neighbor's home or some other people's homes, that how women are being facing all forms of violence. So crime against women is increasing on the street, inside the home. Do you agree with me on that? Is there crime against women more? Say yes or no? Yes. Say a little more louder. I can only see that hear the girls saying yes. Is there more crime against women in Indian society? Yes. Yes. So why? Why there is so much crime against women? Data is increasing into lakhs. Reported, unreported I'm not talking about. So, and then also of course when you see that a society which is not gender equal, then what happens is that women are not equal in the workforce. Not equally economically empowered, they are not equally. Some people who are, their ability to earn is not really being fully exploited, or their ability to contribute to social and economic development has not been equally used. And then of course there is the most, and then of course there is another thing in our society is LGBTQ plus. You know that, na? LGBTQ. And that issue also, those are the communities which are the most at the bottom of the pyramid of society. Okay, so now if that's the nature of our society, we have to first fight to bring everybody at the equal level. And that is why we started working on asking the government of India to create many laws which will be protecting women. And first of all, I mean, as you know, I wrote a book called Brides Are Not for Burning. And that book is almost like what, 40 years? Mansi, how old is that book? So, you know, that is the time when we started seeing so much of dowry deaths in India. And that is why Section 498A was brought into Indian law. And then that is to protect women victims of dowry violence. And last year's data talks about over 8,700 girls have been killed in India for dowry. So even when we got the law in 1984, law is from 61. But when we reformed the law, we changed the law to make it more stringent, and 498A section was added to the law. Then we got, still we have so much of problem. Then also of course we got the first time ever India recognized violence against women in homes. And violence against women in homes by the partner, by the husband, by men in the family. So then this law was brought in, which was to protect the women against domestic violence. This law is also not gender neutral. All these laws that I am listing here They're not gender neutral. They are there to protect women who are the victims of violence. Then of course sexual harassment at workplace. I don't know how many of you are there, but if you heard Mansi Manier, who's come with me, accompanying me for this program, you will know that we are in almost like 39 committees of government, RBI, CBI, all police departments, Ministry of Home, everywhere. Our experts go in those committees and they are looking at how at workplace a woman is not feeling safe. You think you are just doing some kind, and all of you, especially boys sitting in this group, should know that you think is very normal to, kind of put your hand around a girl or to put, unless she's your girlfriend, of course. But if she's not, then you are supposed to keep that kind of a boundary. You cannot, go and whistle at her. You cannot go and, do all kinds of, you think it's a joke. You think it's just normal fun. But if the girl, there's no consent of this girl in whatever action that you are doing, then you are violating the law of the land. Then you are not doing the right thing. So you should know, not even here, but also when in a workplace, when you become officers, when you become, all kinds of jobs that you will get, then you have to keep in mind that there is zero tolerance because of this law in our country for sexual harassment in workplace. It's really not acceptable. All forms of street violence is sexual harassment. There is nothing like eve teasing. I'm coming very, very soon. I'll just talk to you about recent booklet which has come out and recent laws which have been repackaged. CRPC and IPC that has been repackaged. And recent booklet, I think I will highly recommend that all of you should read that. Or it's not a very long document, 38 pages. You must read that, and I have recently quite a bit commented on that whole document. So please, I will send it to your institution. And then of course, the last one is Dowry Prohibition Act of 61, which was then changed. We go through fast all this so that I can. Okay, and then as we all know about Burma Commission. Anybody heard about that? Anybody knows in Nirbhaya's case? No? Really? It happened in 2012. It's not a very old story. Anybody knows Nirbhaya case? No? You know it, huh? I think you should know because these are the things, milestones which created the consciousness of the society, which changed it. And all kinds of rape is considered really absolute, the crime where punishment can go up to not only life imprisonment, but some of it is now, even for the minor, can go up to losing the life of the perpetrators of that crime, hanging to death. That's the kind of punishment. So Burma Commission, where we all made presentation, I also spoke at Burma Commission. I think we all created the law, which was the criminal law amendment was brought in after that. That means the rape was redefined. Also, we have included the trans and queer community and acknowledged that rape can be committed by anyone. So this is one of the recommendations was not accepted because in most of the crime against women, who commits the crime? Crime against women, who commits the crime? I mean, boys don't want to say anything. Okay. So who commits the crime? It's always crime is committed on women by men and boys. In every which crime. So we could not think of a gender neutral legal system. Certain laws had to be created as the really system where we have to protect our women. Otherwise, they will not have the right to, the equality in terms of what constitutional guarantee is. And then, of course, there is a handbook that I want to talk to you about. It's the most interesting thing, it's the most challenging thing, most eye-opener that this little 38-page document is. You cannot, but you have to read it. You cannot, but you have to understand it. That what is happening? Why? Why Supreme Court of India had to come up with something that even within our own legal system we are discriminating against women. Even the way the judgment is pronounced, we are discriminating against the women. Even the way the law is discussed in the courts, we are discriminating against the women. So what is this booklet about? It is just released last 2 weeks back or 3 weeks back? 3 weeks back. This book is released 3 weeks back, booklet. And what it does is identify language that promotes gender stereotypes. So can you tell me one word which describes women which is gender stereotype? One of you should get up and say, what we tell a woman? What do we say to a woman which is gender stereotype? Huh? Say. Yeah. Okay, you can laugh, but tell me loudly. Tell me loudly. Okay. I think it's not matter of joke, but really, if you call a woman who is really facing a case in the court, who has been sexually exploited, who has been sexually, and recent case, very, very recent, in the room of the pro-vice chancellor, we were discussing that case, that, how someone who brings a 14-year-old girl, a friend's daughter, who is, dead now, and then you start exploiting her and sexually raping her. And finally she gets pregnant, and then his own wife gives her a pill to go to abortion. Right? These are serious matters. These are not indicator of a society where all these bright young men and women are being born and raised. You have to think. You have to understand it, and you have to say, okay, while I am here, while we are working in Indian society and we are growing, we will not allow something like that to happen. See, you have to really, other than of course all your pizza fun and your burger fun, I think these are some serious issues that you have to really pay attention to. And then of course, what did this booklet do? It identified. So what do we call a woman who doesn't have a child? Of course, all of you are very young, you're not married. What is the word? Have you heard any word in your village, or in your society, or in your community? What do we call a woman who doesn't have a child? Branch. What is all this? What do you call a woman whose husband died? Widow. Do you learn about other men? Widower, she is a widower, he is a widow. You don't say, but you give us. So these words have social connotation. Fascia. Someone who's doing sex work, you call her fascia. First you make her, you bring her there. Men are using her for their own sexual gratification. Of course, paying. There's money, there's transaction. But at the same time, then all these words have been identified. And then also a child. A child born out of wedlock. Somebody is not got married and child is born. Or somebody has been friends with someone and a child is born. So you don't start calling a baby who's born as a child as a nature's gift to humanity for continuation of the future of humanity. You don't start calling a bastard, do you? But we do it. And even in law we are doing that. So, I think there is a whole glossary. I'm not going to say all these words now because also I feel very uncomfortable even pronouncing these words. So I would say that all of you should read it how women have been described. How women's total personality, total persona has been tight jacketed within this kind of understanding of women. If you call her Baj, what do you think? If somebody calls me, I have no child, somebody calls me Baj, what will I feel? How will I react? Whole life I will be someone who will be suffering from inferiority complex. Someone who will lose all my confidence. Someone who will know that my society does not look at me with any respect and dignity. You understand that? How it is, how it feels to women? It does feel very, very, violation of my personality, my persona, my dignity, everything. So that's why this whole booklet has come out, and I really salute Justice Chandrachud, the Chief Justice of India. He is one of the brightest person in our legal fraternity, and I'm so glad at a young age he has become the Chief Justice of India. A lot of things we are expecting will happen. So this cannot be a society where this kind of a law and legal system and this kind of a vocabulary, language is used, cannot have a gender neutrality. You have to first wean all this kira makura, all this saap bichu out of our system to make the system can walk freely. So that's why gender neutral India still is our long-term dream. It is our dream and we want to achieve gender neutral India, but unless you will create this kind of equality, it will not going to happen. Now I think there is some, okay, now there are certain laws which are really towards creating gender equality in our society. Now that is like right to education. Every child of this country has a right to go to school. If a child is not going to school, state is responsible for taking a child to the school. Same with Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. How many girl children have not seen this world, could not be born because of our attitude for pre-sex determination? You know, we just kill them in the womb only. So that's the Beti Bachao. Then gender disparity in educational. Just I want to show you that why these laws were brought in, because 30% only at the primary level. We have 26% at the upper primary. And for most of the depressed areas, probability of girls getting primary education is about 42%. These are of course the areas where we don't even pay attention to. We are only looking at Haryana, Delhi, Gurgaon, Sonipat, Kurukshetra, places which are big places, but not in our rural areas. So, also I have a lot of quarrel with our inheritance rights, because you know what is the property right? Anybody know? Any law student here? Can you talk about? Yes, please get up and speak. Bolo, what is the property right? Just two things: what you can inherit as a girl, and what can be built. Yes. So one time we were, the most complicated law in the world is our property right, into succession right. It's a very complicated law. And you know, we had to call Professor Nigam. I don't know if you all know, please read his books in the law if you are there. And Professor Nigam had to come to our institution to explain to us how it works. So now she's absolutely right, co-personally. Now girls are also equal inheritance girls can also have in the property. That is inherited property, which is coming from, but still acquired property by the parents can be built. Okay, let me move to, even amongst the all personal laws, I feel all personal laws are discriminatory against women. Yes, you have a question. You see what happened on the eve of the independence, your observation is right. What happened on the eve of the independence, and as a political scientist I have also studied that very carefully, that when the debates were going on about formation of these laws, a lot of communities objected to codifying their own laws. Because their laws have been, Hindus objected to, that's why Hindu code bill was brought in. Muslims said that we would not follow normal laws because we follow Sharia law, and they are allowed in a democracy to follow Sharia law. So they also heard Muslim personal law was created. Then Sikh personal law, Parsi personal law. So each religious group got a personal law in their personal lives, which is marriage, which is adoption, which is inheritance. All those things were brought under those laws. So I think I'm sure law students will understand this. But then what happened? Today, after 77 years, we also kept creating the modern law. So there is an adoption law, there is a law for marriage, there is a law, as you said, property law. So many laws have changed. But communities are still using their own personal law. They are free to use it, but they are not free to discriminate against women. They are not free to discriminate against other citizens of India. So if I, as a Sikh woman, don't want to go for Sikh personal law and I want to go for the courts and contest anything, I should be allowed to do that. I should not be by Pandit ji in the mandir or Maulana Sahib in the masjid or Granthi Sahib in the Gurudwara. I'm just telling you, Granthi Sahib in Gurudwara should not determine my life as a woman. If I want to choose my life as a modern woman of this country, governed by India's constitution, governed by Indian Penal Code and governed by the modern law of the country, then I should be allowed to do that. And that's been the whole quarrel from the women's side. brought in the name of Common Civil Code, which is going to be imposed on other communities. So that's something, there is a debate. We have not seen the draft of the law, but government is already saying that there is a law and you all must comment. So please go to the government side and look at what they are proposing in form of Common Civil Code. So this is what the, okay. Now this is all about the laws. Now I just want to leave you with one thought. I think it's important for all of us because every human being has the equal right. I'll come to you. Don't worry, I'll take your question. So every human being has the equal right. Is that true or not? Should have an equal right? Is that true or not? Say yes or no.
Yes.
Yes. So I think every human being born should have equal rights. But what is happening with socialization process and the norms and values and customary practices in the name of whatever, in the name of this religion, that religion, everything that is being created, if you go deeper into it, I wrote a whole book called Female Sexuality and Bodily Functions in different religious traditions. And I read 7 religious traditions as a young scholar, and I wrote that book. What did I find? Every single religion, whether you can't enter the temple as a menstruating woman, you can't touch the jar also. You can't, get the property equally from father, you go to brother. You can't marry, you can be divorced. Just on an email you can be divorced. Of course that's over now. That at least Muslim women demanded, and they got it that you can't do triple talaq anymore. And things like that, all kinds of systems were created which really put women down or subordinated. So if we believe in as a principle that everybody in a democracy has to be looked at from the point of view of the Constitution of India. Fine? So there is an equality in no discrimination. India's constitution does not allow any kind of discrimination against anybody else. Whether it is in the name of gender, whether it is in the name of caste. Look at the condition of Dalits in our country. How badly they have been treated even now. When you go to the villages where so much of discrimination, even now, they can't sit in a horse for their wedding. क्यों भैया? क्यों नहीं बैठ सकते? आपको किसने ये राइट दिया कि आप बैठ सकते हैं और वो क्यों नहीं बैठ सकते? राजस्थान में अभी हाल में आपने घटना सुनी होगी, मार के उसको कर दिया, उसकी बारात नहीं जा रही। कितना कुछ हम लोग कितने छोटे दिमाग के हिंदुस्तानी हम लोगों में हैं। हम सिकुड़ते पहले हम एक समाज में, गांव में, वहाँ जाति व्यवस्था हमने बना रखी है, फिर हम एक धर्म की व्यवस्था, फिर भाषा की व्यवस्था। ये सब सही, भाषा बिल्कुल सही, सबकी अलग अलग भाषा हो सकती है, सब अलग अलग धर्म को मान सकते हैं, पर दूसरे के प्रति किसी भी प्रकार की घृणा फैलाना उस बिना पर बिल्कुल गलत है और जेंडर न्यूट्रल समाज की तरफ हमें नहीं ले जाना। औरत और मर्द के बीच की गैरबराबरी, कितनी बड़ी गैरबराबरी है हिंदुस्तान को, कितना बड़ा डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है। एक लड़की की, आप सब बहुत नसीब वाली लड़कियां, और मैं शायद बहुत नसीब वाली लड़की थी अपने ज़माने के बारे में नाउ कि हमें वो मौका मिला, और हमें मौका नहीं मिलता तो बनारस के एक छोटी सी गांव में मैं पढ़ी होती, और जैसा कि मेरे भैया मुझे हमेशा चिढ़ाते थे कि जो भी हम लोग थोड़ा खाए पिए परिवार के थे, कहीं चाबी का गुच्छा या घोंस के कभी ये अलमारी खोल रही थी, कभी वो अलमारी। तो ये जो पढ़ाई का मौका मिला, एजुकेशन, सो दैट्स द, वो कहते हैं कुंजी है, वो कुंजी सबको तो मिलनी चाहिए, उतनी है आपको मिली है, उतनी है आपके भैया को मिलनी चाहिए, आपके छोटे बहन को मिलनी चाहिए। उस कुंजी से फिर हमें दुनिया का हर ताला खोलना, चाहे यूनाइटेड नेशंस में नौकरी करने का हो, चाहे आपके देश की महिला नीति बनाने का हो, महिला आयोग बनवाने, कुछ भी सब कुछ हम लोग कह सकते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे पास शिक्षा की दौलत हमें मिली, हमें कोई और दौलत नहीं चाहिए था। और यही चीज़ अभी भी हमारी सोसाइटी को जेंडर न्यूट्रलिटी की तरफ ले जा सकता है। भारतीय समाज का जेंडर न्यूट्रल बन सकता है, वो तभी बन सकता है जबकि हमें लड़की और लड़की दोनों को बराबर हक मिलना चाहिए, और हक मिले, और बराबर का सम्मान, बराबर का हक और बराबर की उनकी हैसियत, तभी हमारा समाज जेंडर न्यूट्रल रहेगा। थैंक यू। एक दो चार प्रश्न पूछने का समय है, क्योंकि एक दो लोग हाथ उठा रहे हैं। हाँ बेटा उठाइए, बोलिए, खड़े होइए। आपकी जवाब मिला कि नहीं आपके प्रश्न का, जो आपके मन में प्रश्न था? नहीं मिला? खड़े होइए, बोलिए। अभी उसको खत्म करने दो, थोड़ा सा डिसिप्लिन रखो। So have you seen the draft of the Common Civil Code? UCC का draft देखा आपने? No, wait. Have you seen what the government is proposing? Where did you see the draft on which we were asked to respond to? Listen, I don't think it is on the government website. We are very carefully watching it. We are supposed to respond to it because we want to look at it. We already created a draft many years back. Yes. Please sit down. I think in a way you have supported what I am saying, and I am very happy that you are very aware that we are in fact talking about something more. We are saying, why should girl marry at 18 and boy at 21? Why? What is the logic? It has to be the same. Isn't that right? Girls agree? Girls agree that it has to be same? 21? जोर से बोलो, हाँ भी बोलो, उसका दम है। क्यों डर रहे हो क्या? प्रो वाइस चांसलर तुम लोग से बहुत बड़े प्रोग्रेसिव यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं, मालूम है? तो तुम जोर से बोलो, उनको बताओ कि तुम उनके यूनिवर्सिटी के बच्चों के अंदर कितनी चेतना है। बोलो, लड़कियों को 21 साल में शादी होनी चाहिए कि पहले 18 में लड़के 21 के हों? हम लोग के देश का कानून क्या कहता है? लड़कों की शादी हो 21 साल के, उसके पहले मत करो, और लड़कियों की शादी 18 के पहले मत करो, 18 साल की हो। तो लड़कियां भी 21 साल की क्यों नहीं? Oh yes, states are doing wrong. States are doing wrong. States are not following the rule of law. States are not following. Yeah, I heard you. Now let others also speak. They are not upholding. You are absolutely right. Totally. This is what I have been saying. That all these laws are not being implemented in the manner in which they should be. Fine. So any more questions? Otherwise I will close it because I have taken quite a bit of your time and I have to go back to a meeting. So anything more? No? Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think that was a very lively and interactive session, I must say. It has helped all of us really open our minds and stimulate our minds to think of how we can contribute, and keep in mind, like ma'am said, this fight for gender equality, it continues to be a human fight. Let's keep in mind, not a female fight alone, but a human fight. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us today. I invite Professor Manjula Batra, Professor Ranjana Sarnath, Professor Premrat, and Dr. Mansi Mishra on stage. I request Professor Premrat to kindly present Dr. Ranjana Kumari with a memento as a token of our gratitude. I request Professor Ranjana Sarnath to kindly present a souvenir to Dr. Mansi Mishra. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir. We end on a hopeful note that we will host you again very soon for